The events in this program are inspired by a true story. Names, dates, and details have been changed. Viewer discretion is advised. On this episode of Bizarre Murders, when a lingerie designer who appears to have it all is found bludgeoned to death with a sex paddle, police suspect she could be the victim of an intruder. But when they learn her life isn't as rosy as it seems, they'll do whatever it takes to get the case all sewn up.
Francine? Francine? God, Francine. Francine. It's me, Ty. Francine, wake up.
Not exactly the Monday morning Ty envisioned when he came to visit his good friend Francine.
I need help, please. Hurry.
When lead investigator Detective Lopez arrives at the crime scene, he notices Francine has been beaten to death with a sex paddle.
Over the hundreds of cases I worked with the FBI, I learned that whenever you see something like a victim killed by a bedroom toy or in a state of undress, you have to at least consider the possibility that you're looking at a sex game that went wrong. If that's the case, Francine's killer would have had sexual contact with her. And that means the best option for finding him is to pull DNA from something he left behind. Oh, come on, let's just say it. I'm talking about semen. And looking at the state of this bed, there's a lot to choose from. Still less than most hotel rooms, though, seriously. After years of seeing hotel rooms checked with UV light, I would never sleep on those sheets, which is how I've ended up as that weird old guy who travels around with his own linens.
Hello?
Who is this? And why answer my wife's phone?
This is Detective Lopez, and if your wife is Francine, there's been an incident.
Alistair, Francine's husband, is out of town on his annual hunting trip with his frat buddies. 10 years ago, that's how he and Francine first met. It would change Francine's life forever.
Hey, you must be Alistair.
Hi, yeah.
Francine.
Francine?
Yeah, Tim invited me over for the weekend.
You hunt?
No.
At first, Francine wants nothing to do with Alistair. But Alistair is more than a little intrigued by her. Back at university, he works hard to win her over, and the two soon become friends, with benefits.
Looks great, babe. You should try to sell it.
Oh, no one would buy my stuff.
Of course they would. You're a great designer.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet.
And before long, Francine and Alistair jump into a full-on relationship. They spend the rest of college joined at the hip. When they graduate, they tie the knot.
Okay, wait, you can put it down.
The newlyweds work hard to build a life together and make their dreams come true.
I love you.
I love you too.
Francine launches a high-end lingerie line, while Alistair decides to write the next great American novel.
At first, Francine and Alistair are young and in love. But over the years, their lives become less Leave It to Beaver and more Desperate Housewives. When Francine hits the big time and there's still no novel in sight, Alistair's fragile man ego is shattered. He decides the best thing to do is enjoy Francine's underwear and the big bucks it brings into their bank account.
Babe, leave me your credit card. There's this awesome jet ski I've been wanting to check out.
Really? The motorcycle wasn't enough?
Well, Francine spends long hours running her company.
Gotta go.
Thanks, babe. You're the best.
Yeah.
Alistair lives like a king, sleeping until noon, regular spa days, and treating his frat buddies to scotch tastings and cigars. As Alistair rushes back to the city, Detective Lopez turns to Francine's body for answers about when she got her deadly paddling.
Getting a solid time of death is vital in a homicide case, because once you have that, you can start checking alibis and narrowing in on suspects. So when did Francine die? Her limbs are stiff but not rigid, so I'm thinking she's been dead maybe 24 to 48 hours, which means she would have been killed between late Friday night to midday on Sunday. Talk about your rough weekend.
But when the DNA results come in, they show all traces of semen belong to Alistair.
Well, those results don't help us get any more answers. Unless, of course, your question is how virile Alistair happens to be.
My wife meant everything to me, Detective. You better find the guy that did this to her. Here. Thanks.
No problem.
Alistair tells police the last time he saw Francine was right before he left on his annual frat reunion hunting trip. And everything was more than fine between them.
Looking for this?
Yes, I was. I love you. Woo! Instead of wasting your time talking to me, you should be interviewing Ty.
Excuse me?
He was her lover after all.
Sorry, Ty?
Okay, we've got lingerie, a sex paddle, and now a lover. Is this a case or an episode of Dynasty?
Alistair reveals to police that his wife Francine was having a fling with her friend Ty.
I've been slaving since September with my nose to a book. I missed 100 mamacitas cause I ain't got time to look. So when my bros called me up, I didn't have
But while Francine was seeing Ty on the side, she wasn't cheating. They were all part of a swingers club. Drop your keys in the fishbowl and pick up anybody else's you want to go home with.
So it turns out that Alistair and Francine had an open marriage. Translation, they could see who they wanted to see on the side, but the deal was that any side relationships had to stay light and be focused only on sex, not on intimacy, because your spouse banging a stranger is cool, but cuddling afterwards? Oh, no. That is over the line.
Over the years, Francine has developed a whole set of rules for their engagements, but Alistair is less than willing to follow them.
I get that rules are supposed to protect against jealousy, but you really can't control emotions like that. At least I don't think you can. I mean, it's not like I have firsthand experience swinging. I mean, clearly, I'm way too straight-laced for that. I mean, I'm blushing just talking about all this. Are we done?
Hey, babe.
Babe? I don't want to do this anymore. I just want it to be just the two of us again.
Francine decides it's time to trade swinging for a swing set.
I want to try having a baby.
Of course, honey. Anything for you. You know that. Yeah, my wife and I had an open relationship. It was an agreement we had. But when we closed the marriage, Ty got all weird about it. He didn't take it too well. Guys like Ty don't get a lot of women, so they get weirdly attached. You understand that, right, Detective?
I'm not agreeing with Alistair's logic, but I am with him that Ty needs to be looked at as a suspect. Okay, let's face it. He found the body, which already makes him a person of interest. And he used to sleep with the victim, which makes him more interesting. All that is more than enough to interview him, no matter how good he is or isn't at picking up women.
I would never hurt Francine. I adored her.
Ty claims he took Francine out for Chinese food on Friday, but just as friends. Then he dropped her off at home around 1 and headed straight out to a weekend retreat.
What is it that you do on the retreat?
I LARP.
Sorry, you LARP?
Live action role play.
Oh.
I'm a swashbuckling pirate.
You're a pirate. Drink up, mateys.
Live-action role-play is like computer gaming, only more dorky. Players create characters, then get together to portray them for hours or weekends at a time, all in the hope of gaining fake acclaim and admiration. So it's like The Suburbs, but with dragons instead of nosy neighbors.
How did you make out?
Well, I was very close to getting the bounty chest, but Stubby Pete, my friend, got there before I did.
Sorry, your friend Stubby Pete?
Yeah, he has a peg leg.
Oh, Stubby Pete?
The alibi may be odd, but it's solid. With over 50 people at the event, including site security, there's very little chance that Ty could sneak away to kill Francine. With Ty ruled out as a suspect, and the images of the scratches on Alistair's neck still fresh in his mind, Detective Lopez looks more closely at Alistair's alibi.
I'm just following up on an investigation on your dad's friend, Alistair.
He questions Vanessa, daughter of Alistair's frat buddy Tim, who was hosting the hunting trip weekend.
He said he was here recently?
Yeah. Alistair was up at the cabin with my dad and their friends, like, all weekend. He came over, he was here on Friday, and they drove up together.
Friday now. Do you remember specifically what time on Friday?
Like around 5:30. I remember because he was making this big deal out of a movie that was on TV.
Hey, we're gonna leave now.
Okay, bye, Dad.
I'm gonna let off.
Awesome. All right. Icebox. Great movie. I caught this one last night.
Detective Lopez finally gets a break from the most unexpected source.
But you know what was super weird about that movie?
What's that?
So the whole thing was about this husband who kills his wife. And like a few days later, Francine is dead.
I don't know if I'd call that weird, and I certainly don't believe in coincidences. What I do believe in is good police work, and I'd be chasing down this connection because it could prove to be a solid lead.
When Detective Lopez watches Icebox, the movie Alistair was raving about before leaving town, he discovers that the husband not only kills his wife, but gets away with the crime by blasting the air conditioning in the house, distorting his victim's supposed time of death.
Thanks for coming back.
Detective Lopez calls Ty down to the station for another interview, but he only has one question in mind.
When you discovered the body, how cold was it? What was the temperature like?
Well, when I got there, the bedroom door was closed. The air conditioner was on full blast, so it was freezing. And I turned the AC off.
Time of death is usually calculated based on factors like rigor mortis. But when a body is in the cold, rigor mortis can be delayed by hours, or if the temperature is below freezing, even days.
Police thought Francine was killed between late Friday and late Saturday. But once you factor in the temperature of the room, you have to roll the time of death back. And we know she had lunch with Ty at 1 on Friday. But any time after that is in play. Now the question is, was she killed before Alistair left town, making him a viable suspect or not?
Detective Lopez comes up with an unorthodox way to ascertain Francine's true time of death.
Most people don't realize that the stomach stops working almost immediately after a victim dies. So whatever they just ate is basically preserved in their stomachs after death.
Francine still had Chinese food in her stomach from her 1 o'clock lunch with Ty. The stomach takes a maximum of 8 hours to digest food. So Francine's time of death must be somewhere between 1 and 9 p.m. on Friday.
But the only way to prove that is to establish how many hours it takes for the same Chinese food to get as digested as the contents of Francine's stomach. And the only way to do that is to eat the same food as Francine and then throw it up at regular intervals until there's a match. And you know what that means? It means this case is about to get gross. And that right there is why criminals should never underestimate law enforcement, because we'll do whatever it takes to crack a case. The whole situation may seem bizarre, but it works. The food matches at 4 hours, which means Francine was killed right around 5 p.m. That gives Alistair just enough time to have committed the murder, then driven over to Tim's house. I know it's rude to eat and run, but what about kill and run? That's gotta be worse.
A year after Francine's death, Detective Lopez's case against Alistair has gone cold. But then, Tim's daughter comes forward.
So, the night that Alistair came over?
With a confession that cracks the case wide open.
Hey, Francine.
Yeah? Yeah, I'm gonna miss you too.
She realized Alistair
We'll talk first thing in the morning.
was speaking to the dial tone.
Okay?
Yeah, I love you. Yeah, okay, bye.
The only reason to fake a call like that is if you know someone's dead, but you want to make everyone else think they're still alive. And the only person who would want to do that is a killer trying to shore up his alibi. Alistair thinks he's smart enough to trick everyone around him, like he's so evil genius. But someone ought to tell him he's more Homer Simpson than Hannibal Lecter.
Detective Lopez finally has all he needs to charge Alistair with Francine's murder.
All the evidence points to you. You're under arrest for the murder of your wife.
Right. I killed my wife, the woman I was happily married to, because that makes sense.
All right, let's get going. Come on, Buttercup. Let's go.
He's not wrong. The lack of obvious motive means the case isn't a slam dunk, and Alistair's now rich enough to lawyer up with the best team possible.
At trial, the truth of Francine and Alistair's relationship comes pouring out.
Want to go again?
Oh, yeah.
Get out of my house. Get out!
Are you...
What is this?
It was the same as before. I don't understand why it's a big...
Because I want to change.
Okay.
I wanted things
Why don't we calm
differently.
down?
I left Ty and we talked about this. You said that was good. You said whatever you want.
I said what I thought
Then
you
what-
wanted to hear, okay? Is that what you want? I don't want a baby. It's not about you. It's my life, too. I like my life the way it was.
Francine designed lingerie, but Alistair's the one with a pattern. While he agreed to close his marriage, he continued seeing his girlfriends on the side.
What is it about? I thought it was about us.
It is about us.
Then
Why can't we do
then
both?
Why does she have to be here? What do you want? What do you want from me? I give you everything. For
You
you.
know what? This...
When Francine confronted Alistair about his cheating, he became violent, and she decided it was time to leave.
I don't want this.
What do you want, then?
I want a divorce.
God damn it!
Alistair knew that if Francine went, her money and his playboy lifestyle went with her. So he decided he couldn't afford to let her go, at least not alive.
Get my shirt. What are you wearing that for?
Don't worry, it's not for you.
The air conditioning idea is actually a pretty good one, and it did confuse the police about Francine's time of death, at least for a while. But you know what isn't a good idea? Ripping your MO off from a movie that's playing on TV at the time. And then on top of that, blabbing about how you saw the film and you loved it. I'd say criminals should learn to zip it, but then it would make them harder to catch. So as far as I'm concerned, they can just keep on gabbing and keep on getting locked up.
Alistair is convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without parole.
Like a little black dress, true love never goes out of style. But if you're with a man who treats women like fashion trends, picking them up and discarding them as he pleases, be careful. Because I promise you, no matter what he says, the only threesome he really cares about is me, myself, and I.